Agenda review session for Wednesday, October 19, 2016, New Brunswick City Council. We have no ordinances on second reading. We have no ordinances on first reading. Resolutions. 632, approve agenda amendments. 633, approve payroll. 634, authorize refund for redeemed tax sale certificates. 635, disposition of charges against Golden Rail Pub, 66 Eastern Avenue, liquor license number 1214330570003. 636, approve Chapter 159 budget insertion, State of New Jersey, Office of the Attorney General, Department of Law and Public Safety. The Drunk Driving Enforcement Fund grant, amount $37,279.41. 637, approve authorization for acceptance of grant with Middlesex County for 2016-2017 New Brunswick Alliance on Substance Abuse Prevention. Cash match $9,758.50. Grant $39,034. 638, approve amendment of resolution R 081640 to change the date of the Friday, December 30, 2016 year-end City Council meeting to Thursday, December 29, 2016. 2016 City Council meeting schedule. 639, hold as unnecessary to approve the request of the financial officer. 640, advise and consent to Community Arts Council appointment. Name is Claudia Meir. Expires December 31st, 2017. 641, approve request for use of city property and street closure for New Year's Eve celebration. Requested by the Restaurant Guys. The location is Monument Square Park. Welcoming the year of 2017 fireworks will be shot from the roof of the Helvish Hotel. DJ entertainment at the Showmobile. Street closure, Livingston Avenue between New and George Streets. George Street between Liberty and New Streets. The date, Saturday, December 31st, 2016, and Sunday, January 1st, 2017. Time is 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Street closure, 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Police extra duty. 642, approve request for use of city property and street closure requested by Rutgers University crew. The location is Boyd Park. Rutgers Fall Classic Rowing Regatta. Street closure, Voorhees Street in front of the boathouse. Sunday, November 6, 2016. Time 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Police extra duty. 643, approve amendment of resolution R 081636 to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $24,257.50. The American Arbitration Association arbitration services in the matter of City of New Brunswick versus Marback Construction Corporation from $44,450 to $68,707.50. 644, approve Chapter 159 budget insertion, State of New Jersey, Office of the Attorney General, for body armor replacement grant, amount $12,128.80. 645, approve Chapter 159 budget insertion, U.S. Bureau of Justice Assistance, for bulletproof vest partnership grant, the amount $11,343.75. Cash match $11,343.75. 646, approve request of street closing. Requested by Holy Family Parish, location beginning at St. Joseph Church, corner of Somerset Street, Maple Street, cross French Street, down to Townsend Street, ending at Sacred Heart Church at 56 Troop Avenue for Our Lady of Guadalupe procession. Date, Sunday, December 11, 2016, time 8 p.m. to 9:15 p.m. Police extra duty. 647, approved request for street closing, requested by Rutgers University. The location is Seminary Place between College Avenue and George Street for Rutgers 2050 celebration. Date, Thursday, November 10, 2016. Time, 3:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Police extra duty. 648, approve amendment of resolution R 091654 to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $1,207 to Benedict and Altman for Police Director Anthony Caputo in the matter of Victor Rodriguez versus City of New Brunswick from $26,834.50 to $28,41.50. 649, approve award of contract with John Garcia Construction Corporation Incorporated for water main valve exercising program for the Warning Police, specification number 53216W, not to exceed $75,000. 650, authorized purchase by police department under state contract A 85943/T-1776, data communications network services from Verizon Business Network Services Incorporated for private data line service. Term is October 1st, 2016, to December 31st, 2018. Not to exceed $49,342.50, non-pro ton. 651, authorized tax collector to transfer credits on several tax and utility accounts. 652, approved Chapter 159 budget insertion, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for home grant N16-MC340227. The amount is $366,855. 653, resolution to approve an encroachment into the right-of-way at 19 Stockton Road, lot 745, lot 5, in the city of New Brunswick. 654, approve temporary closure of Church Street from Kilpatrick Street to Spring Street and add a section of Spring Street bounded by Albany Street and Church Street, requested by city engineer. 655, approve amendment of resolution R081656 to pay additional legal fees in the amount of $1,700. Benedict and Altman. Police Director Anthony Caputo in the matter of Arthur Anderson versus Anthony Caputo from $16,889.50 to $18,589.50. 656, authorized purchase by police department under state contract A 89980/M-08483 NASPO Value Point Computer from Wireless Electronics Incorporated doing business as Wireless Communications and Electronics for installation services for the police department for 2016 Ford Transit Connect not to exceed $3,092.67. 657, authorized purchase by police department under state contract A 89980/M-0483 NASPO Value Point Computer. Wireless Electronics Incorporated doing business as Wireless Communications and Electronics for one arbitrator 360 HD and accessories not to exceed $11,041.72. 658, authorized refund to Lila Delano for duplicate payment made against block 327, lot 15.01, semicolon 85 Main Street, water account number 115-004-860-00, the amount of $98.45. 659, approve award of contract with Jackson Creek Manufacturing Corporation, furnish, deliver, and install one animal control transportation unit for the police department, specification number 557-16P, not to exceed $22,634.47. 660, approval award of contract with Chapman Ford Services, Chapman Ford Sales Incorporated, preferred to deliver one animal control vehicle to the police department, specification number 556-16P, not to exceed $51,500. 661, approved purchase by the fire department of state contractor A 888729/T2776 for Hertrick Fleet Services Incorporated for one 2017 Chevy Tahoe, not to exceed $35,124. 662, approve authorized reduction of site and performance bond to Liberty Mutual Insurance Company, St. Mary of Mount Vernon Church, 198 Sanford Street, from $96,000 to $48,000. 663, approve amendment of resolution R101612, change order number 2, with Underground Utilities Corporation for 2015 sanitary sewer system improvement, project phase 1A, specification number 892-15A. The amount is $6,458.86. Approval of change order will constitute an increase of 20% or more of the original contract. 664, approve amendment resolution R081633, change order number 3 with Joe Med Contract Incorporated for 2015 sanitary sewer improvements projects phase 2A, specification number 895-15A, amount of $60,042.40. Approval of change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. 665, resolution to approve, disapprove request for change in floor plan for Old Bay Corporation, 61 Church Street, liquor license number 121433067-006. 666, approve request for solicitation of funds requested by Children's Specialized Hospital Foundation Incorporated. Children's Specialized Hospital, Children's Miracle Network Hospital, dates Friday, October 28, 2016, Saturday, October 29, October 30th, and Monday, October 31st. Times 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Locations: College Avenue and Hampton Street, Eastern Avenue and Hampton Street, Eastern Avenue and Somerset Street, George Street and Hampton Street, George Street and Somerset Street, George Street and Patterson Street, George Street and Bishop Place, and George Street and Barrett Street. 667, approve amendment of resolution R091660, change order number 2, with Spartan Construction General Contractors, Inc. The Royal Stadium Grandstand renovation and waterproofing, specification number 900-15R, the amount of $62,905. Approval of this change order will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. 668, approve amendment of resolution R 121352, reason to pay final invoice with Lon and Land Associates for additional engineering services for boiler and air conditioning replacement at City Hall, not to exceed $235. Specification number 790-11 RFP-R1-rebid. 669, approve amendment of resolution R 071652, change order number 3, with Flanagan's Contracting Group Incorporated for reconstruction of Recreation Park. Specification number 851-14R, amount $30,258.48. Approval of this change will not constitute an increase of 20% or more of the amount of the original contract. 670 is held at the request of the city administrator. And then we have items for discussion by council. Will be one, will be discussion of the city's 2016 best practices inventory. That's it. Call the meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Escobar. Here. Council Vice President Fleming.
Here.
Councilmember Garlotti is absent. Council President Egan.
Here. Please be advised that the notice required of the Open Public Meetings Act has been complied with and satisfied, that the annual notice, which gave sufficient notice of the time and place and content of all public of the meetings of the municipal council of the city of New Brunswick, has been filed with the city clerk, has been placed on an appropriate bulletin board in the lobby of City Hall, New Brunswick, New Jersey, and has been transmitted to the official newspaper for the city of New Brunswick, namely the Home News Tribune. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a moment of silence for our men and women serving in our armed forces, for our men and women in our armed forces who lost their lives in any battle. Now, we have two sets of minutes. Mr. City Attorney, do we have to do that individually, or are we going to do them together? Together, thank you. We have minutes from July 20th, 2016 and August 3rd, 2016.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Council President Egan.
Yes. Thank you. We have resolutions.
Public hearing.
I'm sorry. Public hearing. Public hearings, we have ABC charges, the Golden Rail Pub, liquor license number 121433057-003. Mr. City Attorney.
Yes, Mr. Council President, members of council, agendized for this evening is a public hearing involving a charge for purchase under the legal age against the Golden Rail Pub. I will note for the record that Mr. Gussis is present here, who represents the licensee, and I understand a principal licensee is also present with Mr. Gussis. Through extensive discussions with Mr. Gussis, myself, and I with the investigating officer, as well as the Special Investigations Unit, Detective DeGraw, we have resolved this matter between the parties and submit the resolution to the City Council for its approval. It was a one-count complaint for a underage sale of alcoholic beverages, actually a six-pack. This particular licensee has not had a prior violation of this nature or any nature for at least 20 years that we were able to ascertain. And we are proposing that the licensee would plead non-volte, or what's also known as no contest, to that particular one-count complaint. In exchange, receive a 10-day suspension, and the city would have no objection to the licensee applying to the director of the ABC to reduce the suspension to a monetary fine, which is permitted under state statute. City of New Brunswick or any municipal authority can collect money fines against the licensee. Our only authority is to suspend or revoke. So that is the proposed resolution. There is a stipulation of settlement that has been worked out between Mr. Gussis and I, which will be submitted with the resolution, should the council be so inclined to accept this resolution. I would just ask that Mr. Gussis acknowledge that that is the proposed resolution.
Trustee Smith, step up to the microphone, please, sir.
And if I have left anything out, I'm sure Mr. Gussis will.
The representations that Mr. Shammy has made are accurate. We both signed the stipulations of settlement, and Mr. Farrell is here on behalf of the pub, and he understands the gravity of the offense. It should be noted for the record that the underage person was a 20-year-old police officer. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right, that's accurate.
Thank you.
So if the council is so inclined to adopt this particular resolution of charges, there is an appropriate resolution in your packet on consent agenda, which could be adopted at that time. It's actually resolution 35.
So you just put it, you watch it in with the rest of it already?
Yes, you can.
Thank you, City Attorney. Would the public, anybody from the public like to comment on this? Yes.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
I'm Chris Miller. Has Golden Rail had any other charges against them that have been passed at all?
I believe the city attorney said they have not had any other charges, but I will ask
Last 20 years that we could do.
No.
Last 20 years, no, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes,
Good
sir.
evening,
Good evening.
Charles Craddock, New Brunswick today. Somehow I'm both. Can you please tell me, was it a New Brunswick police officer who purchased this six-pack?
It was.
Yes.
Can you please identify the New Brunswick police officer?
So I don't get it wrong. I believe it was. Officer Nicholas Grammer.
Gotcha. And I'm just curious, who's the person who's here tonight on behalf of the pub besides the legal representatives? I think I heard a principal. is here.
Mr. Gussis, who's here with you from the establishment?
Mr. Farrell, Sean Farrell.
And what's his title of the company?
He's the general manager of the company.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Bratton. Thank you. Anybody else on that particular matter? Anybody else on that particular resolution? Okay, we'll now move to the resolutions. We have resolutions 632 to 670 being held as 639 and 670. Anybody from the public like to comment on any of these particular resolutions, please step up to the microphone. Anybody on the resolution?
Good evening once again. As I said, I'm Charles Craddock. I'm the editor of the community newspaper New Brunswick Today, and somehow I'm also a resident and a voter in New Brunswick. And I have a few questions for you about these resolutions you're about to pass. The first one I'd like to ask you about ends in number 639. It's been pulled, I guess.
Mr. Bratton, we can't talk about stuff that's been pulled. They're not up for discussion.
Okay,
All right, let's get to the stuff that we're going to vote on.
fair enough.
Thank you.
I just want to make note of additional legal fees for these troubling cases. Benedict and Altman getting more money to represent the police director who doesn't think it's important enough to be here when you're paying his legal bills. The next one below that is 649. I'd like to ask about the water main valve exercising program and how these valves are exercised and what that means.
Director, please.
Good evening. Yes, I'd be happy to address that. This is part of a multi-phase assessment that we're making of the water distribution system. As you know, a big topic all across the country has to do with infrastructure, and the largest part of an infrastructure in the water system is the actual distribution system. And so we literally have nearly 1,000 valves located within the city. And all those valves, they normally only get exercised in the case of a water main break. So there are occasions when you can have a water main break and you go to shut a valve off that hasn't been operated for literally 75 years, and it can break on you. So we're implementing a program now to exercise the valves, make a total assessment of the condition of the valve, and then when we find valves that are broken, looking into replace them. How it's actually done is Technology has really come an awful long way with these. They have a machine that will hook up to the valve itself. It measures the torque that is on there, so that's the pressure that it takes to turn it, and it actually measures it the entire way from the fully open position to the fully closed position, and that gives you a very good assessment of what's going on with that. So I appreciate the council approving this.
So we're testing the valves, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. Thank you for the thorough answer. Also want to make light of additional legal bills for the police director who doesn't think it's important enough to be here, from the same law firm for a different case where he's being sued by, in this case, a former officer, one of his men. Gosh, I always find these interesting and amusing when there's something like this. 658 is, this is just like a little refund for someone who I guess paid their water bill twice by accident, and it's only $98 and the city's going to refund them. But yet it still ends up being put on the council agenda and formalized and documented on your agenda, and you have to actually take an up or down vote on it to do that. And I think that's just amazing, considering that things like very expensive settlements with people who've sued the city don't go through that same process. Is that fair to say?
No, I don't think it's fair to say. I mean, the reason why it's on this agenda is because by law, we have to put it on the agenda. When the person missed the date or the deadline, now it has to go back, it has to be agendized, and it has to be formally voted on by the city council. We put these things up in this agenda because they have to be done by state statute, the reason why we're doing these things.
So the city council does put it on their agenda when there's a settlement with a civil suit against the city?
Mr. Shannon?
The money doesn't come from the city.
No, not the money doesn't come from the city of New Brunswick.
Okay,
We're
so
only voting on the city, the money that the city spends, not what anybody else. We don't-
so are the council members even notified if there's a settlement, like let's say a multi-million-dollar settlement? Are the council members told? Do you even know? Do you want to know?
No, we're not told. Most times, we're not told, no.
Is it true that the city has settled with the estate of Barry
So,
DeLoach?
Pat, we'll stay on we're on the resolutions here, please.
I'm just,
Right on the resolution, which resolution would you like to speak, or are you speaking about?
okay, I'll ask about that during the public comment.
Okay, that'd be great.
50, the very next two items, 59 and 60. Just curious, what kind of animal control vehicle is this that's being purchased for $51,000, and what is the other resolution related to that, or is that for a different vehicle?
Anybody from the police here today? You can answer that.
This is the vehicle and the cage system that's going to go into the, it's a new vehicle for animal control.
Okay, can we share with Mr. Cradwell, please? That's the vehicle right there, sir.
Okay, it's like a truck, I guess, big truck.
Truck and the unit, it's on the next page, it'll move into the truck.
Okay, so they are related, the
Yes.
cage and the, so it's a total of like
Yeah.
70,000. And I guess the animal control needs that, they need a new vehicle.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Mr. Locker?
One of them is falling apart very badly.
Thank you. I want to ask about the 63 and 64. I want to ask if, I guess these are related, and which one is the one that's currently doing work in my neighborhood on Remsen and Welton?
Someone from engineering, yeah, Mr. Valenti?
I can speak to that. Specific to, specific to the first one, which is 663, Underground Utilities is replacing a sanitary line in Remsen Avenue, and also we have a short distance to replace a sanitary line on Welton Street. There's been numerous problems over the years, so this is infrastructure upgrades. Similar to Mark's comments regarding infrastructure, we're just trying, there's been recurrent problems there, so these are engineering solutions to accommodate those issues.
Okay, well, I look forward to upgrading the infrastructure. That's a great thing. Can't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem with sort of how it's been done. I don't think the neighbors were notified, and there was now a porta potty on the corner there, and just tons of construction junk left out. And I don't know about this. Maybe you could help me with this, but if you're running one of those big, heavy machinery kind of cranes that lifts up those big metal things that come out of the ground, if you're doing that, you're not supposed to be talking on your cell phone, right?
I wouldn't think so, Mr. Cradwell. The actual person putting it in the ground, or were you speaking?
No, the guy who's running the crane, like the hydraulic machinery that's suspended this big, heavy metal thing in the air.
I would say no. I'm gonna answer no, but I don't do that, so I don't.
Okay, well, around, like, I guess by 3:45 PM today, I witnessed that, I took a photo. It's concerning to me that, you know, people would be careless with the heavy machinery. I wouldn't want any of the workers to be hurt, but certainly, same goes for anyone who's passing by. It's not blocked off in any way, it's in the middle of the street. So, that's cause for concern with, at least, I guess, underground utilities, but I think, in general, the construction industry in New Jersey has a lot of improvement that they could make in terms of being less of a nuisance and preventing accidents on the job, dangerous accidents. And that is all I have on the resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell. Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Definitely a phone, it wasn't walkie-talkie, they weren't talking to somebody.
You got it like this, and it was definitely a phone, because then, yeah, when we stopped, he started texting.
Ground didn't have a phone.
Didn't see anybody else with a phone, no.
Thank you. Anybody else on the resolutions? Seeing none? Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
I, Nikita Berrycoat, I am a resident of New Brunswick and a reporter, freelance at the News Tribune namely.
Okay.
I have one question about a resolution with the ending number 650. And this is a $49,000, or $49,342, basically a $49,000 investment. So what exactly is this going to?
You can answer that. I believe this has to do with your phone network. Mr. Lockman is over here from the police department. Can you help us out?
I can, I was hoping JT would have been.
Captain Miller, we have no representation from the police department today? Please make note of that.
Based upon the description, Mr. Egan, it looks like it's a dedicated line that goes into the police department from Verizon to service
The police operates on the right. Okay.
Exactly, but I'm not a technical guy, so I wouldn't try to explain it. But that appears to be the case on the description.
Sir, I want to apologize.
According to the backup, it's private data line service from Verizon Business Network Systems.
So it's a private data line that goes into the Brunswick Police Department. What it serves or anything, we don't have anybody here to answer that this evening. I apologize for that.
We can share this with.
We can get you more information if you leave your name and number with Mr. Marqueta. We'll get you the exact information when it's for.
Fantastic.
I apologize again, sir. Thank you. Sorry. It's a dedicated data line to the New Brunswick Police. What it's for, I apologize. Okay, anybody else on the resolutions? On the resolutions, anybody on the resolutions? Seeing nobody.
Move the resolutions.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes, I'm staying at 669.
so noted. Councilmember Escobar,
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming,
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti,
Yes, abstaining on 643.
noted. Council President Egan.
Yes. We now have item H, which is a discussion of the city 2016 best practices inventory. I'm going to let Mr. Lockwood speak on this, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Regan. As you know, the city is required to complete a questionnaire that is given to all municipalities. Probably been in existence now for 4 or 5 years. It comes from the Department of Community Affairs. It often asks us 50 questions. If you do not provide enough affirmative answers to these questions, your state aid may be at risk. This year, the format was changed a little. There were 30 questions. We are prepared to submit that questionnaire to the DCA on Friday of this week. We have answered 23 out of the 30 questions in the affirmative. Our state aid will not be at risk as a result of that. One of the questions, though, did require a public discussion, of which we are asking for your consideration tonight about. It deals with the authorities that this city has created. The authorities in particular are the Housing Authority and the Parking Authority. I'll read you the question if you would bear with me. It's a little long, but it goes as such. Many municipalities have created one or more authorities, including fire districts, utilities authorities, redevelopment authorities, housing authorities, port authorities, etc., to provide greater focus and attention on addressing a public need or to reduce governing body burdens. While creation of an authority is often appropriate and many authorities successfully fulfill their missions, authorities with weak membership or insufficient local level monitoring can become wasteful, inefficient, and unresponsive to the public they serve. NJSA 40A:5A-20 allows a local governing body to dissolve an authority subject to certain parameters and with local finance board approval. Municipalities should at least annually assess the authority or authorities they have created and publicly discuss their findings and conclusions. Findings and conclusions should address whether their existing authorities continue to serve the public interest and are more efficient than other potential alternatives in providing services and financing public facilities. The question then is, within the past year, has the above referenced discussion appeared as a listed agenda item on a scheduled governing body meeting? And two, do the findings and conclusion appear in public available meeting minutes? We are taking the position that tonight we are satisfying the first piece of that question, which is that there will be a discussion at tonight's meeting, at a regularly scheduled governing body meeting, and we are going to rely on the city clerk to then put these, our findings in the minutes for this meeting when those minutes are prepared. I have been asked to at least discuss with you the parking authority, whether it continues to serve its mission, whether it serves the public that it was created to serve, whether there are more efficient potential alternatives out there. I've looked at the enabling ordinance from 1948. I've looked at the authority's mission statement. I've looked at an overview of their operations. The authority manages 810 on-street parking spaces. They own 8 parking garages, manage 8,300 off-street spaces. They manage 164,000 square feet of retail and commercial space, which includes the Wellness Center and Key Food Supermarket. They employ 66 full-time people, 47 part-time people. They provide cleaning services to the SID and the UEZ areas of the city, which includes snow removal at crosswalks within the SID. They provide the on-street parking enforcement of all city ordinances relative to parking with a 6-person enforcement staff. They provide valet parking services for the Heldrick Hotel and various other restaurants throughout the city. They administer the residential permit parking program, as well as process all handicap parking applications. They assist the city with Rutgers game day parking at Buckaloo Park. I've also reviewed the 2016 authority budget, which is in an amount of $32.3 million. I've looked at the 2014 and 2015 auditor's report. I've had multiple conversations with the executive director, Mitch Karen. I've discussed the authority with Mayor Cahill and the finance director, Doug Pettix. And we conclude that the authority does continue to serve the public interest in this community. We conclude that it serves the interest very well. It meets its responsibilities as defined by the original ordinance. It does not suffer from weak membership. It is not an inefficient operation or unresponsive to the public it serves. We find that the authority goes out of its way to go beyond its mission, as it's a partner with City Market and the city in the Clean Streets effort in the SID and the UEZ. When you compare this to other potential alternatives, I think there are only 2 alternatives to the current construction of the authority, and that's that it be parking parking services become a municipal function or that it be entirely privatized. We think the current configuration is superior because the city government has already an $87 million operation, has a full plate, has many diverse responsibilities. Private entities are not tax exempt like the parking authority is. I believe they're driven by a profit motive. They must answer to shareholders. They don't enjoy some of the benefits in terms of public financing that the authority does. As you know, the authority uses the city guarantee often to reduce the cost of bond issuances, or at least the interest rates that those bonds are able to be funded at. For example, a recent $27 million refunding issue had an interest rate of 2.76% because of the city's guarantee behind it. We believe one organization devoted to providing parking services remains a more practical approach to either of the other two alternatives. And for these reasons, we conclude that the authority continues to serve the public interest and that it remains the best model for the provision of parking services in this community.
Thank you, Mr. Lockwood. And who will be discussing the housing authority for you?
Mr. Pettix will do that this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Pettix?
Thank you, Council President. I've had a number of discussions with Clark. I've received a copy of their audit, which was, they're on a different fiscal year than us, so the most recent audit available was June 30th, 2015. As you're well aware, the New Brunswick Housing Authority is a not-for-profit agency, and it was established to serve the public purpose of providing low-income housing to eligible tenants. We've analyzed what they do. Again, the other options would be possibly privatizing it, having outside people for profit administering the program, if that's even possible, or assuming those responsibilities in the municipality, which, as Mr. Lawson said, is a greater burden, and I'm not sure it would be any more efficient for us to take it on than the Housing Authority. The Housing Authority currently has 359 public housing units in New Brunswick and administers a Section 8 program of 903 Section 8 vouchers solely in New Brunswick. They've expanded to show that they are a fairly efficient organization into Franklin Township, and now they serve both New Brunswick and Franklin Township by having 238 Section 8 vouchers in Franklin and another 50 public housing units as well. The Housing Authority runs with 17 full-time employees and 2 part-time employees, and I do have a copy of their audit in which I'd like to go through some of the issues that were brought up. There were no findings in their audit. As far as the auditors were concerned, the internal control over financial reporting, there were no weaknesses, there were no significant deficiencies, they were in compliance with the material statements. With regard to the federal awards, they had no material weaknesses over major programs, significant deficiencies or material weaknesses for the awards. And overall, there were no audit findings that were required to be disclosed. So just like the Parking Authority, I'd have to say that the Housing Authority seems to be working fairly efficiently, and as I said, efficiently enough to have been expanded into Franklin Township at this point in the shared service. And as the state has been pushing over the last couple of years, shared service agreements is something that's been a very positive thing. The more we can do together with neighboring communities, the better it is. So I concur with Mr. Lockman with both the Parking Authority and the Housing Authority seem to be meeting their missions.
Thank you, Mr. Pettis. We'll now move to the public discussion meeting. I'm sorry, the public discussion portion of the meeting. I'm sorry. Anybody like to address the council, please step up to the microphone. Anybody else, 5 minutes rule? Step right up, please.
Hello, Danielle Moore from 188 Russell Street. First, I would like to start off with the city. Wow, you did a wonderful job. Also with Remsen Avenue, redoing the line work for the crosswalks. I say, wow, if there was plenty more voluntary doing things. Well, I have to say, I guess there would be less complaints, but good job. One thing I'm here to talk about mainly today, that's Livingston and Comstock Street. That was last Monday. We know how that corner is very dangerous. That was last Monday, how they had a car accident. Right on the corner there, it was a three bumper-to-bumper car accident. That's where I know you have one of the best, and I mean the best on that corner, but still to show you how dangerous it can be due to where he's the only one on that corner. And I repeat, he's not at fault at all. But I still say you needed, where you used to have a second crossing guard there, and I hope that the city can, the department can put another one on there. Like I said, you can check the records due to where they did have a car accident there. So will the police department and the city be able to put another crossing guard there?
Let's take a look at the, yes.
We have 3 crossing guards in training now, so they'll be placed where they feel they're most needed at that point.
So we have 3 getting ready to be placed, and we'll take a look to see where they're.
Well, like I said, I hope so. It is on record.
Okay,
This is
we're
what
gonna
I just
have
said.
it written down, and we'll take a look at the areas you say need.
Okay, and then that's what's, once again, asking for Lee and Lawrence, it was approved already, that's for the orange sticks with no parking on the corner, due to where, once again, you had another accident on the corner of Lee and Ward. Let's make a record, that's 3 Lee and Ward and 3 Lee and Lawrence, where both corners back, they're close, so I hope that the city and the police department will look into it. What, having a few police cars over there to stop a lot of the speeding. And then, like I said, I hope that's where the city will step in by making sure there's no parking on the corners over there, which they never did respond to, even though it was approved already.
Okay, Mr. Valenti,
Well, specific to what we call the delineators, or orange should be the markers, we just renewed our contract with our sign vendor who supplies us those. We ran out of stock because we've installed and replaced several hundred over the past year. So once the order comes in, that's our first priority.
thank you.
Okay, and then another question, that's where, is there any ideas for Lee and Delavan Street, due to where I gave you a couple of pictures at the last meeting, due to where, how do you expect, the street is only really 1 lane, but you have a 2-way, and how it's beginning to be a lot of trouble and dangerous.
Mr. Valenti has an answer.
Yeah, I would like to speak to that. Specific to the photos you provided, actually showed the 2 cars were illegally parked on the left-hand side of the photograph. Delavan narrows as it approaches Lee. Where it narrows, it's a long, probably 20 years in the books, a long established no parking zone on that side of the street. So the photograph you actually supplied us, it showed 2 cars that were pulled on the grass and they were illegally parked. So I discussed this also with the parking authority. They're going to step up enforcement at that location, to my understanding. But that was it's really an enforcement issue. There was no parking allowed on that side of the street.
Yes, I understand.
Right.
But like I said, due to where it's beginning to be a big problem, due to where the other part of Delavan Street has reopened again. Now, does the police department still, or the city still give permission for Delavan to be closed? The one-way part of Delavan Street.
Between which sections?
That's between Livingston and Lee Avenue where
By the school.
yes.
It's closed during the...
It's closed during the school.
No.
There's a car parked there on Livingston Avenue to control traffic, and there are cones put up to control the traffic
No.
also.
No, I'm not talking about that situation. That was where, how it was, where no one can make any turns down to the one-way street.
Which section are you?
That's between Livingston and Lee Avenue, the one-way part. That was where, they didn't do it this year, but that was where it was closed, so no cars would go down there due to where, let me refresh your memory, due to where that's how the parents were used to it, but you have kids crossing now in between, and I must remind you, before school was over, a little girl got hit by a bike. Thank goodness it wasn't a car, but yes, so what is the situation about having it blocked off again?
I speak to the police traffic division every day. I'll talk to them about it tomorrow.
We'll talk to the police traffic division tomorrow about it. Could you give us the names of this, the actual, I don't think anybody has it right. Do we have the right actual area?
Yes,
Oh, yes, it was approved, but I don't know why it was stopped.
we'll check into
We'll
it.
check into it right away. We'll find out why it was stopped. We'll speak to the traffic people tomorrow.
Because like I said, due to where you have a lot of kids crossing from
Okay.
one school to another,
Right.
so I hope it will for the safety of all the kids, that we can close it back off like it was.
Okay?
And then one more, that's where, I think it's been about 7 months, where, that's the button for the walkway for Joyce Kelmer in Delavan. It's been about 7 months where I spoke up about this, and it hasn't been redone yet, repaired.
Delavan and Joyce Kilmer?
Yes.
I can speak to that. We actually are having long-term problems with the in-road lighting systems that have been installed in the past. And quite honestly, we're probably going to abandon the in-road portion, but leave the flashing crosswalks on that. So we're evaluating how to go about that. But at Delavan, and Ms. Moore is correct, but at Delavan and during the school hours, there's crossing guards. So there's additional protections that are in place, but certainly there's a nuisance with these devices that fail because of water issues, and that's actually taken down the system at that point. So we're in the process to try to get that replaced or repaired, at least for the function of flashing signs that are vertical. But we're having significant problems at almost all the locations where we have the in-road lighting systems.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Anybody else in the council? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Charles Cradwell, New Brunswick Today. Can you answer my question? What's the Deloach case for the 7th?
Mr. Shannon?
It has been
Yes.
For what amount?
$300,000.
Thank you. Can you ask the water director for an update on the oil spill in Milltown and its impact on the drinking water?
Yes, sir. Director?
Yes, every report we've gotten so far back from the DEP, who's in charge of the investigation, is indicating that the transformer leak had 0 to a very low level of PCBs that would have been involved with the oil. That's not saying in the history of the transformers that sometime they didn't have PCBs in them, but all that was leaked out was basically just mineral oil. The cleanup is continuing. It is arduous, given the fact that, it's on the shoreline, but they've gone through a couple of contractors so far. They're working on that. Currently, we are, the mill pump station is currently offline. We have tested the day of the event and every day since the event for any possible contaminants, and everything's come back negative.
Thank you.
Are the cleanup's still ongoing?
For at least another 2 weeks.
At least another 2 weeks, okay. So I want to say I think it's a good thing that there was an item for discussion tonight on the council. That was a really interesting discussion, and I was glad to be a witness to it. I respectfully disagree with what Mr. Pettix had to say about the Housing Authority. I do think that they suffer from weak membership and inefficient operation, and they're definitely unresponsive to the public they serve. And, I think I look forward to more discussions, and I hope that, at every meeting you'll have at least one item for discussion on the agenda, and hopefully you'll promote it in a way that's a little more exciting than discussion of the CY 2016 best practices inventory. I think if you'd mentioned the Housing Authority, Parking Authority specifically on this, you might have had some more people interested. At any rate, on to the unfortunate negative things. There's outstanding questions from the last meeting. I was promised answers to many questions, haven't gotten them yet, haven't heard them yet. So arbitration hearings, are they open to the public? You said, sir, we'll get back to you somehow. Somebody will let you know.
I apologize if they got back to you, but they got back to me, and I believe the answer is no, but I'll let Mr. Shannon, the
No,
city attorney.
it's a private proceeding.
Okay. And the other question was, how many times has Brant Grigas been sued?
I have to answer that question as well, Mr. Council President.
Yes.
I researched over the last 10 years, and there were 4 cases in which Mr. Grigas was named as a defendant. 3 are resolved, and there's only 1 still pending.
4 over how many years, sir?
10 years.
Thank you.
Do you know how the 3 were resolved?
I don't know the answer to that question. I assume they would be dismissed or resolved in some fashion, but there's only 1 active case, and that's the Stallings case that has been on the agenda from time to time.
I would think it might be wise to look into, how those were resolved, whether they were dismissed, and, how much the legal bills were and how much the settlement, if there was a settlement, was.
Well, against multiple defendants, so it would be difficult to determine faults and things of that nature.
Back to the water, or a different issue with the water, was the consumer alert sent out to everybody via the US mail, the consumers?
Yes, it was delivered to the post office on Friday afternoon. So it met our postmark deadline with the DEP, and we're starting to get calls from the public, starting on Monday. So.
Thank you, Mr.
And they're sent to the people who pay the water bills, not necessarily the people who live in the houses and drink the water.
Right, we send it out to everybody that gets a bill, the same way we do our consumer confidence report. This was an approved plan from the DEP. But we do ask, especially when there's the people that have like apartment complexes, to post it in common areas, any way they can get the word out. And of course, we have to post it on our website as well.
Cool. And is there a place people can pick it up in City Hall? Is there printed copies available for?
Yes,
Of the actual letter?
Yeah, like downstairs.
Yeah, it's right here at City Hall, and it is in English and Spanish as well. We had a little trouble with the translator, so we're only able to do a double-sided copy with that. But again, we're doing it the same way we do our consumer confidence report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Council President, can you tell me if you're related to Aileen Egan? A-I-L-E-E-N Egan?
Who?
Aileen, I guess is how you say that.
Not that I know.
Not that you know, okay. Can you ask Mr. Patterson if he's any relation to the firefighter who resigned recently, Richard Patterson?
No.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Patterson.
Can you please ask Captain Miller whether he's related to the New Brunswick police officer Justin Miller?
Captain?
Mr. Bradley emailed me that question about 2 weeks ago, and it's a personnel matter, and I'm not going to discuss personnel matters in this department.
So just to be clear, the police captain refuses to say whether he's blood relative, family relative of one of the cops on the force, citing it's a personnel issue. Just want to be clear.
Captain, you'd like to respond to that?
Yes, Charlie's asked similar personnel questions in the past. I don't want to deviate from the answers we've given. He would criticize me for answering one question by having answered other ones in the past.
Well, what I will criticize is not being transparent, especially about whether or not there's a family relationship.
So there's a personnel matter going on with this individual right now, Captain? Is that what you just said, as far as?
No, he's asking about 2 different personnel within the police department, and it's, as we've discussed here at the meeting before, personnel matters are not discussed in public. If the city attorney says that's not the case, I'll try to answer his questions, but that's how we've discussed it in the past.
Thank you.
Could you please ask the city attorney his view on this, whether it's okay for Captain Miller to admit to having a family relationship to one of the police?
All we have to report is that there's someone by the Miller name, which we can, who works for the city, and what his title is, and what his employment position is, and how much he makes. We don't have to get into familiar relationships. It is a personnel matter.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you ask me if there's any relation to MCPO, Paul Miller, at the prosecutor's office? That wouldn't be a personnel matter for the city.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know if anybody can answer that at this time.
Captain Miller, sure.
Captain Miller, would you know that answer?
Are you asking, am I related to Paul Miller?
Yeah.
I am not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
So on September 21st, I came to this meeting and asked a couple questions. Captain Miller wasn't here, unfortunately. There was another gentleman here. I didn't catch his name. Did anybody know who that was with the police department that night?
Captain, who was in your stay?
Lieutenant Kodeski.
That was a lieutenant, okay. And so I asked 2 simple questions. I thought I'd be able to get an answer. They were, was there an increase in gun violence or violence in general for the month of August? And what are the biggest gangs in New Brunswick? And I was really shocked to get a response from Captain Miller a couple days later saying that these questions are arbitrary in nature and do not reference a specific incident. I am not prepared to issue a statement for you in regards to generalities. So I was promised by the council president I'd get some type of response. Do you think that's a satisfactory response to those general questions, like was there a spike in violence, or what are the biggest gangs in the city?
Well, yes, Captain.
Violence covers all, I mean, you can't just say there's a spike in violence. It all depends on what crime you're talking about. Same with gangs. Gangs is an arbitrary definition, and unless Mr. Cradle is more specific, I'm not going to even entertain anything close to that question.
Okay, I'll be very specific. According to the Middlesex County Crime Stoppers website, a gang is defined as an organization, association, or group of 3 or more persons, whether formal or informal, which has a common name and/or common identifying signs or symbols, whose members individually and/or collectively engage in criminal activity. And I'd like to point out that the New Brunswick Police Department has had not one, but 2 New Brunswick officers convicted of owning or of running several houses of prostitution in the same city where they were supposed to protect and serve. They've also been charges against an officer for illegally voting in several New Brunswick elections. There's officers who've been suspended as much as 135 days, and the police department keeps it a mystery their identity. There's also the man who was in IA, Internal Affairs, who's supposed to be policing the police for many years, was criminally charged with mishandling, not 1, but 81 complaints into his fellow officers, and that's a criminal charge. This is to say nothing about all the allegations in these lawsuits or the numerous other convicted criminals who work for the city, like Mike Mahoney and Ed O'Rourke. And I just wanted to say that unless Captain Miller can start giving us some answers to these questions, I think people have to assume that the biggest gang in New Brunswick is the New Brunswick Police Department, according to that definition, which is from the Middlesex County Crime Stoppers. So unless Captain Miller wants to enlighten us about who the biggest gangs are in New Brunswick, I think people just have no other choice but to assume the biggest one is the New Brunswick Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Kamal Penny, New Brunswick, New Jersey. I first want to start off from last meeting when I asked Captain Miller how long was Officer Jones and Del Falco on the New Brunswick Police Force.
Captain?
You did ask, but you didn't, when you left here, we didn't say you wanted to answer to that. You were throwing out arbitrarily. If you need to know, I will get it for you for next week. I apologize if I misunderstood what you were getting at. I thought you were leading into the internal affairs investigation you were discussing. I don't have it, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Come on.
You're right, Mr. Pittman.
Come on.
No, he'll get it for you. He'll get it for you. You should have had the information this evening. I apologize, Mr. Pittman.
Okay, well because all I know is Officer Jones and Del Falco. What's their first names? What's Officer Jones' first name?
I do not know.
Come on.
The Falco is Nicholas. I don't know Jones' first name.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to guess. The few ideas in my head that I don't want to guess and give you the wrong name.
Okay. 6 years. You've been in that corner at times. She's been in the middle. He's been in the corner. 6 years, you've seen him sit back in that corner and give the same answer. Now, I was supposed to be inconvenienced to come here. I was going to come anyway, but next week, to have a simple question that I asked the week prior. Do you think, and he is the commander, he's Internal Affairs Commander. He's a captain. He's one of the cream of the crop. And this is what you're getting from him. So what do you expect from the officers under him? What do you think they're going to give you if they sit back and watch this tape? Because a lot of people watch it week after every first and third Wednesday, and watch him give the answers. That gives them the opportunity to be negligent, malice, incompetent, because of his leadership. He can't even give me officers' names, and he's a captain. Do you understand what's going on in the world affairs today? You know that Captain Terrence Cunningham, he made a presentation this Monday at a conference where all captains were available, and he said how, policing, he apologized for the misconduct and mistreatment of African Americans and Hispanics in urban communities. He made an apology. And he's the president of an organization with 23,000 officers. And this is what New Brunswick has to deal with. I'm asking them simple questions, and I'm trying to get simple answers, and then you'll figure out why, a man gets shot down in New Brunswick and gives his family $300,000. That's a salary for a police officer for 3.5 years. This man is dead and gone, and his family got the salary of a police officer for 3.5 years. And the officer in his room is probably getting that for 3 years of work. And this man was murdered, and his family gets that after a 6-year fight. And then you got a captain that's going to come in here and not have any answers after you settled out? Are you comfortable with the no, I'm not gonna say $300,000. I'm gonna say, are you comfortable with the 3.5 year salary that you gave the Deloach family? Are you comfortable with it?
Mr. Pittman, I can't, I'm not gonna be able to answer that at this time.
You should answer now. You tell me what you feel. Are you comfortable with the New Brunswick Police Department giving the Deloach family a 3.5 year police salary settlement for the murder of Barry Deloach? Are you comfortable? Is anybody in this room comfortable with it? Anybody wearing a badge comfortable with it?
Mr. Pittman was decided by a court of law. They went through a process. The family, they accepted what they were offered.
Well, you accepted what they were
I don't know the
offered.
particulars of the case. Right?
Hold on, accepted what they were offered.
I don't want to comment on it. As far as not knowing the name of the people, we're going to get that information for you. I don't think Captain Miller should be, his whole career should be held subject to a couple of answers that he wasn't able to answer here tonight.
No,
We'll
but
get the information for you. We will get the information that you deserve to get, sir.
it's not his whole career. Listen, this was last week. I'm trying to see some professionalism out of him. I'm trying to figure out how did he make it to be a captain.
Mr. Pittman, you said yes, Captain.
I will make sure, if Mr. Pittman wants to give his email, I do have his telephone number. If it's the same, I will call him tomorrow and personally give him those numbers. He doesn't have to wait for 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, Mr. Pittman, we're going to get information. You're entitled to that information. They're, like you said before, they're not easy. It's not a hard thing when you ask, no doubt.
I mean, listen, come up with the answer. Don't start stuttering. Listen, I took about a month and a half, 2 months off. Nicholas DeFalco, he disrespected mine. This is what you get. I gave you guys a break. I'm always giving you guys breaks. This is what you get. So don't start jibbering and jabbering when I'm here. I'm here now. I'm here. This is what you get. I asked you, the problem I have also with the entire department is the neglect. Councilman Fleming, I have a personal question for you. Is your mother still living?
Yes, she is.
Yes. All right. Is she anywhere near 7? Because my aunt, Audrey Pittman, she has a son your age. And what brought me back to these meetings immediately was the disrespect that she dealt with. And she reached out to the mayor's office. She wanted to do it the proper way. She reached out to the mayor's office. That's 23 days. The mayor hasn't responded to her yet. The mayor, 23 days. The last time she seen the mayor was Tuesday prior to her being disrespected at a senior's picnic. I hate the word picnic, but a senior's picnic. And then she reached out to him that following Monday, and now it's been 23 days, and no one has responded to her. She's willing to come down here on her cane, walk from Handy Street, right down here to Kirkpatrick or Bradley Street, and speak with him and discuss the issues that she had. A 70-year-old lady didn't even get a response from the mayor after 23 days. Even after I came at the last council meeting and raised an issue. And it's been 23 days and he still hadn't reached out to her for being disrespected, for giving the city $75 to put up a handicapped parking sign. For not busting a person's windows out for being parked in her spot, calling the police like she was supposed to do, and being disrespected. Here it is, she reached out to the mayor, and it's 23 days and still no response. Are you comfortable with that?
No, if they called the mayor's office and no one responded in that period of time, someone should have got back to her if they didn't call to the mayor's office. We'll find out right now. We'll find out what's going on, and hopefully someone from the mayor's office will respond to your end.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Do you think it's professional that the mayor not respond to a senior resident?
I can't answer for the mayor's office. I don't know if he was away or whatever. I don't know.
No.
I can't answer that.
I'm not.
I would think that in 23 days, hopefully that someone would get back to you. Somebody would get back to you.
This is the problem. Do you think it's professional?
I don't have any opinion on that.
Okay, because this is the problem I have with you.
Yeah.
Your first response was, I don't know. He could have been away. I don't know. But listen, or.
I'm only hearing your side of the story.
But listen, that's what I'm saying. So you're saying you gave him the benefit of the doubt by expressing that he could have been away. But it's also, but it's also a possibility that he don't care, right?
There's a possibility of anything, Mr. Pittman. I'm giving
So say
everybody
both. So say both possibilities. Don't say give him the benefit of the doubt he's away, and also mention that it's a possibility that he don't care.
I'm not going to say that, Mr. Pittman. The mayor cares about all the citizens of the city of
Okay.
His records, I believe, proves that.
Listen, my aunt, she's sore, she's in pain,
Okay?
but I'm gonna bring her here to the next council meeting.
She's been.
Wait, I want you-
Out of bed here, man.
I'm gonna bring her here to the next council.
You, personally, go ahead.
I actually tried to catch you before you left at the last meeting. We don't have to wait till the next meeting. You gonna be here at the end when we adjourn?
No, you know what? You know what? Let me explain why. Real briefly, I'll explain. You know, listen, I'll show you my whole demeanor. One thing when I fight people, I don't keep secrets. I come in here, this is what I do. I sit down, I pull my little pad out, I get up, I wait till I'm last, strategically, because I don't want no one before me to say something I don't agree with. And then what I do is I come, I stand there, I scan the room, look at everybody's faces so I can get a kind of mental recollection of faces that I might see afterwards. And then I leave. The reason why I come to council meetings is because I don't like those sidebar conversations where you may say something and then we get in public and you act like it never happened. I like for it to be on record. Well, if you could talk to me on the side or after a meeting, you should talk to me right here. It's documented. I have nothing to hide.
Can we put this on record? Call me tomorrow.
Call
me tomorrow. You got.
But do you
Call
not
me
get my
tomorrow. I'm
point?
putting this on record. Do you don't have that?
But do you not get my...
No, I mean, we gotta.
Whatever you got, because you have a mother.
Yes.
And if your mother was disrespected, how would you feel? She has a son your age.
I can't. Look, we're not even raised up. Call me tomorrow or call me tonight after this. I want to talk to you after this. I want to get the particulars.
Well, what do you have to say?
What?
What would you say?
Listen, you let us talk in private.
It's nothing. We're not cutting no side deals. I'm saying so we can push this forward. Cool.
All right.
Is that fair enough?
Thank you.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
You know what? At the end of the day, I don't have, but it is a spade is a spade.
Because I know.
And when I come here with valid concerns. I don't come here with valid concerns. You know when I start coming back to council meetings, it's standing room only. When I'm not here, you can hear a pin drop. You know it's a lot of gaps in it. You know they come and see the show there, and guess what? I'm gonna definitely deliver every time. You know a person told me, and I'm gonna leave with the person told me, they said, Terrell, listen, every time you come to a council meeting, you know what? You don't gotta get up and say something every time. Sometimes sit back, stand there, and just leave them guessing. I don't play like that. I'm not gonna leave my family to come and sit in a room with you guys. When I come for real. I come with I come with serious allegations. And that you have not, after all this time, you have not proven me wrong. If I came up to this microphone after 6 years consistently and said one lie, you guys would try to destroy me in the public perception. I've been consistent for 6 years with no lies.
Thank you, Mr. Pippin.
And I'm going to be here next week with my aunt.
Okay.
And hopefully, the mayor, I'll speak to you, but hopefully the mayor will treat her like he would treat a 70-year-old Caucasian woman by St. Peter's Hospital, that lives by St. Peter's Hospital out of Rutgers Village or Dewey Heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pippin. Anybody else like to address the council? Yes, sir.
Carlos Ramirez. Is there anything that can be done to improve the public safety at the intersection of Sudan Street and Railroad Avenue, where vehicles are coming out of the wrong way into Sudan Street?
Say the addresses again, sir.
At the intersection of Sudan Street and Railroad, where vehicles are coming out of the wrong way, and a couple of weeks ago, a cyclist was hit and the driver took off.
Okay.
Is there anything that can be done to improve that safety there?
Well, we'll take a look at it. Do you have any kind of situations that you saw there, or?
Yeah, it's every day where vehicles are coming out of the wrong way, and dozens of children play daily there.
Okay.
People are going up Railroad Avenue the wrong way?
Yeah, they're coming from Railroad into Sudan Street.
The wrong way?
Yeah, wrong way.
Railroad's one way.
All right, we'll certainly have the police take a look at it and see what we can find out, sir.
All right, also illegal parking in front of the fire hydrant at 322 Sudan Street, where 3 homes burned down. Police have been contacted numerous times, but they just passed by.
There's cars parked in front of the fire hydrant?
Yeah, vehicles are parking for...
We'll also have Captain Miller take a look at that also. Captain, you have the address again? Yeah, got it. We'll have to look into it, sir.
All right. In the meantime, is there anything that can be done, like to put traffic cones in that area or paint the part of the sidewalk red?
What we're going to do is, if there's cars parked in front of the fire hydrant, then we see the summons, and we'll certainly take a look if the parking authority is still here. Now we'll see if the curb is painted the correct color and make sure people know.
There's no color in there.
All right, we'll also have the parking authority take a look at that also.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the council this evening? Anybody else like to address the council? Anybody else? Seeing nobody else? Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll
Councilmember
call.
Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Escobar.
Yes.
Council Vice President Fleming.
Yes.
Councilmember Garlotti.
Aye.
Council President Egan.
Yes.
Yes.